Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. This is part 2 of the paint rescue on the 95 Porsche Carrera 4S. And this is what we're looking at here. A lot of work to do on the front of the vehicle. The front bumper, the hood, and the fenders are the worst and will need most of the attention. And that will get the paint correction started on this. We already did the wash and the decon, removing some PPF and some other prep in the first video. If this is your first time viewing in, if you want to kind of follow along with this whole job, you could start with the first video, part 1, and then jump to this one, and there will be one more, the finale, that finishes everything up. All right, the first thing we want to do before paint correction is protect all of these older, drying out rubber grommets, seals, trim, anything that can be damaged or stained permanently by the polish or bumped up against accidentally with a backing plate or a pad. Doesn't matter really what type of tape you use. My absolute favorite is the mint green precision tape from 3M, but as long as it's masking tape, and a quick tip, you don't have to tape it like you're painting the car. Just protect those areas that are most vulnerable. Some of the plastic pieces, like the wiper washer, disbursement nozzles, and some of the areas in and around the vehicle where the clips are old and brittle, we're not going to remove them and disassemble like we normally would in this case, but we tape them off instead. Let's start with the roof. We're going to do the correction starting up top, working our way to the bottom. And up top on the roof, what we're dealing with, staining and swirls. To pick your team, we're going to pick the sunroof here as our test area. At least 1 or 2 test areas, maybe even 3 if you're not sure of the surface. So we'll tape off the sunroof and use it as our test area to find the combination of pad polisher and correction fluid that we want to use on this. I know that the clear on this is thin, it's soft, so we need to be a little bit careful and we need to be choosy when it comes to our microfiber towels as well. Edgeless, plush, and then I have one that's plush on one side and a lower nap on the other. So I went in and pulled off the shelves a few combinations I know would work, and we're testing one right here. I'll show you exactly what we come up with in a few short minutes. But a test area is going to be huge if you want to find out if the clear is hard or soft and what will work. As you can see here, no transfer of a color anyway. It doesn't turn red or pink, meaning it's clear. It's not single stage, and there's not a tinted clear on here. So that's a bit of information we already picked up. And another thing, the combination I picked here for the cutting process, this will be a 2-step process. Remove the imperfections, but leaves a haze behind, as you can see here, because the clear is soft. So we will need a second step to finish things off. What's our combination? Well, we're going to use the Oak Soleil as our cutting stage. And Soleil is just a medium or 1-step polish, so it's not aggressive, and we'll use a 50-50 pad with it. To finish up, the finishing polish from 3D, it's the ACA 520, and a beveled finishing fine finish pad from Rupees. You also want to get your pad cleaning station set up, whether it's a pad cleaner or a brush and chemical, maybe even forced air. With soft clear, with single stage, with a tinted clear, it doesn't matter. You want to clean off the pad between every pass if you can. Between every panel is recommended. And for those that want to do another method, you could have a billion pads within arm's reach and just swap them out as often as you can. Pad cleaned, freshened up, ready to get to work. Now, we've already done the cut process on the sunroof. I want to swap over, get the finish pad on, and just make sure that this pad is perfect and that the correction fluid is perfect to finish up and complete this team or combination. So let's get this done. Let me remove the tape, wipe off the residue, and use the panel prep, and we'll come in and I'll show you the difference between the two areas. This is the uncorrected area with the swirls and the etching and the stains. And this is the corrected area. We now have that gorgeous metallic red, the ivory red underneath, shining through. So that's the combination we're going to use for this particular job and with the budget that is allowed. My choice when it comes to customers has to deal with what they're looking for, their expectations and budget. It's not what's going to feed my ego, so I'm not going for perfection here. Let's keep going. We'll finish off the roof, and while that's being done, we have some paintless dent repair work going on simultaneously. We start off with the bigger polishes and working our way down the pillars. We'll work our way from the top to the bottom of this gorgeous Porsche. When it comes to the correction fluid, we have that combination picked out because of testing. When it comes to the polishers, I pull them all out because I know I'm going to need them all, from the largest throw polisher to the smallest polisher in the arsenal. Roof and pillars finished. Let's jump to the worst areas on the vehicle. With the hood, we have etching, stains, scratches, and some marks that were, I guess these were touch-up attempts. We're going to have to sand them flat, make them smooth, and for that I'll use either 2,000 or 3,000 grit discs. Do some wet sanding. You could do it dry, but we like to do everything wet sanding in the shop to keep the dust under control so it doesn't get airborne and complicate the other jobs we're doing here, such as coatings and paint protection film. But all we're doing with this step is spot correcting and getting things perfectly smooth. And then I'm going to show you that up close. I'll get you off the stand, bring you in close here. That's what it looks like. It's nice and smooth now. And we can still see a reflection with 2,000 or 3,000 grit, but we need to polish out from there, and it doesn't take much. I finish all of the sanding on the hood, and I'm going to polish a section so we can show you the difference. And this is a marked difference. We're going to make a pretty big dent in this hood when it comes to results and improvement. So let me wipe off the residue and show you what I'm talking about. Huge improvements from the area that we started with to the finished, corrected, and polished areas. And we still have to pull out the finish combination and really dial in the paint and get some crisp reflections. But there's going to be huge improvements without hardly any clear coat removed. So I'll tell you what, let me finish the entire hood and then give you a before and after. Let me know down in the comments section what you think so far. And by the way, if this series of 3 videos helps, the only way you can thank me. It's very easy. Just hit the like button, subscribe if you're not part of the Apex family, and hit the notification bell, and maybe share videos to your favorite group, or maybe a page in Reddit, whatever may help others with projects such as these as well. Now, the only thing we have left on this hood is to really get close and bump up against these washer nozzles. And for that, I'm going to use a tiny polisher and pad and get really close. These can be removed if it's in the budget. That budget needs to be much higher than what is allocated to this job because of the risk of the clips snapping on such old plastic. So they will be left in place this time around. Cut step is finished on the hood. Let's get to probably one of the scariest parts of the vehicle when it comes to the thickness of the clear end paint. That's the fender. And I believe when we measured, we got 3.7 or 3.8 mils. And not much of that is clear or color at all. You can actually see the primer coat coming through. So we're going to have to be careful. I'll do wet sanding away from those areas where the color coat's showing through in the primer. And I'm going to be very careful with the polisher as well to finish up. But you're going to see we're going to make a huge difference. And the fender now actually matches the rest of the car when it comes to texture and gloss, and that is huge. The gloss itself will take the attention of those walking around the vehicle away from some of those horrible spots. There's really nothing as a detailer we can do about those spots. A body shop would need to sand that down and respray. That's not an option for a lot of these classic and antique vehicles. The choice to refurbish what is there is the popular choice in today's world. Moving right along, we're making progress. The bumper has taken a beating. It's also almost just as bad as a fender. Lots of divots and lots of these, what I'm guessing are attempts to cover up rock chips. Well, we are going to wet sand them flat, polish, and make huge improvements. And here we go. Let me bring you in close. Let me know what you think of the improvement. Again, this improvement without removing hardly any measurable clear coat up top. And that is the goal, to leave as much material behind. And we are already approaching the 13-minute mark. Time goes quickly. I want to keep each of these videos in a 3-video series at about 15 minutes. I will see you back for the finale, where we finish up the correction and lay down protection.